Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'm going to make a $5 hand screw clamp. I'm also going to talk about whether it's worth doing it or not. I've taken my two clamp pieces and I've mirrored them, taped them together so that I can now drill symmetrical holes in the top and the bottom, and then also plot the holes for the side. Because I'm trying to keep this project copacetic for some other folks who don't have welding equipment, I'm going to use Gorilla Glue. For those who are not familiar, it's a polyurethane glue. I'm leaving 2.5 inches for the handle. What I'm going to do first is give it a little bit of water. You don't have to soak it, you just spray a little bit of water where the glue joint is going to happen, and then you apply some Gorilla Glue. I'm just going to let it thread its way around, and we'll do the other side as well. I was going to use this big piece of scrap to make the handles, but I found the smaller piece of scrap, which is actually the perfect size. So I'm going to use that instead and save the other piece of scrap for another project. This is kind of rough, but it's already pretty much square, and it's actually the perfect length. I'm going to make each handle 4 inches. The 1/2 inch holes are drilled and it's shaped so that now I just have to sand these. Alright, so next I'm going to Gorilla Glue the handles on. a little bit of Gorilla Glue on the threaded part on 2 sides. And then I'm just going to tap it in. Go. Now, as I just showed you, I made this hand screw clamp with $5 worth of hardware. This is a 12-inch clamp that I can use very much in the same way as any traditional hand screw clamp. Getting parallel pressure isn't quite as easy with this because I don't have the right hardware built into it. Another 12-inch hand screw clamp. This brand, ROK, retails for $20 in Canada. I know you can get 12-inch hand screw clamps for as low as $10 or $11 at Harbor Freight in the US. I think the ones at Harbor Freight are Pittsburgh brand. You know, these are comparable to what you would get at Harbor Freight. If anything deteriorates on these, it's going to be the wood. So the difference between these two clamps is basically the hardware. The hardware is specially made and designed in a hand screw clamp classically so that you can wind it like a bicycle using opposing threads. So that means you've got threads on one handle going one way and threads on the other handle going the other way. That makes them very quick and easy to clamp and apply pressure on different configurations in different jobs. On the homemade clamps, I don't have the proper hardware, although I can still use these effectively for clamping without any real issues. The threads are all going the same direction, so you don't get that same action. Even though it doesn't have the proper hardware, the principle is the same and they will still work just fine. For the retail ones, because of the special hardware, you get better balance and better parallel clamping. The time it took was about a day and a half, really, before I had a working clamp. Now, if you're making these in batches, it might be worthwhile, I don't know. Having the proper hardware makes a pretty big difference in performance. Although these will work okay, these are still overall more versatile and better. So I would say that spend the $20, spend the $11, even though they are cheaper clamps and it's not the more expensive brand, so the wood is more likely to chip and split, but that's going to get wear and tear over time anyway. If you're running this anywhere near a router bit, or if you're using that as a safety device, it's going to take a beating no matter what. So I would say go with the cheaper retail version. When the wood wears out, when the wood breaks or cracks, you can definitely take this apart and repurpose the hardware to build your own. The hardware kits for these retail for about $18 to $20. Makes it even more compelling a case to go and just buy a cheaper set of these. One thing I should mention is that if you do come across these at a flea market or a garage sale, which is, in my experience, not uncommon, you can check the hardware. Don't worry so much about the wood, but check to see if the hardware is still good. If the hardware is still good, you can get it for $1 or less. The ones that I built here are made of scrap maple, so these are going to last quite a long time. That concludes this video on hand screw clamps and whether you should make your own or whether you should buy one. If you want to buy me a beer, head on over to my Patreon page over here. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There are a couple more videos on this side that you can watch. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a great day.